Okay, so for tonight, I'm going to do the first of 3 meditations on refraining, the moral discipline of restraint from the 10 non-virtuous actions. So the 3 meditations cover the restraining ourselves from committing the 10 non-virtuous actions. Alright, it's got a little bit of Shantadeva's verses in there as well. Okay. I'll go straight in after you've done the preparatory practices. I'm doing actual, The essence of Dharma practice is to abandon non-virtue, practice whatever is wholesome, and gain control over our mind. If we are unable to do this, then our claim to have done a lot of meditation and many retreats is empty of meaning. If we meditated for a full year and then, upon examination, discovered that our delusions had not subsided at all and our mind was as wild as before, then that year of meditation was purposeless and produced little fruit. As Shakyamuni Buddha himself said, not to commit any evil action, to accumulate a wealth of excellent virtue, and to tame one's mind. This is the teaching of the enlightened ones. The nature of our mind is like the pure blue sky. However, at present, our mind is obscured by the myriad clouds of delusion and our wild, disturbing thoughts. Only the practice of Dharma dispels these clouds of obscuration and allows the pure nature of the mind to shine forth freely. Anyone who has removed all traces of delusion from his or her mind and has achieved the state of complete purity is called a Buddha. Therefore, no matter what practice we may be doing, we should check to see that it is actually decreasing our delusions and bringing our mind under control. We should keep this criterion in mind at all times and judge our practices accordingly. So allows the pure nature of the mind to shine forth freely. The 3 types of moral discipline discussed in this chapter are mainly practiced by those who have taken the Bodhisattva vows. We may think, therefore, since I am not a Bodhisattva, what need is there for me to study and practice in this way? This is a mistaken way of thinking. Even before vows are formally taken, we must practice the development of bodhicitta and try to observe the appropriate moral behaviour. It is only by training in this way that we can prepare ourselves for the actual practices of a bodhisattva. As beginners, we may not be able to do everything a bodhisattva does, but if we practice the 3 types of moral discipline according to our own capacity, we shall be creating the cause to achieve the actual state of a bodhisattva in the future. For someone who has taken the Bodhisattva vows, the morality of restraint means to refrain from all defilements and faults. A layman who has not yet taken the Bodhisattva vows practices the moral discipline of restraint by refraining mainly from the 10 non-virtuous actions. These include the 3 non-virtues of body, killing, stealing, and sexual misconduct. As follows. So these 3 are covered in this meditation. If we practice restraint with respect to our body, speech and mind, we shall be able to ensure that these non-virtuous actions are not committed and therefore be free from their harmful effects. So the 3 non-virtues of body. First one, killing. Kind of like a definition and dependent relationship with 4 parts of killing. So, 1. The object of killing is any other living being. 2. Our intention must be to kill the object. 3. The action involved must be to make an effort to kill by means of poison, weapons, and so forth. 4. The full completion of this action would be for the object to die before we do. Second one, stealing. Definition, 4 parts. 1. The object of killing is anything that does not belong to us and has not been given freely to us. 2. Our intention must be the desire to possess that object. 3. The action involves removing that object by including fraud, cheating, and so forth. 4. The full completion of this action is to regard the stolen object as our own. The third one, sexual misconduct. Definition, 4 parts. 1. The object must be a member of the opposite sex who is the wife or husband of someone else who is not a legitimate or willing object of our sexual attentions. Or it could be someone's girlfriend or boyfriend. 2. Our intention must be the desire to have sexual intercourse. 3. Our action must be to make an effort to accomplish this intention. 4. The full completion of this action is to accept with delight the feelings resulting from our action. No. You can pause at any time to contemplate each of these paragraphs. So now some verses from Shantideva's Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. Chapter 2, verse 60. What remains with me now from the pleasant experiences of my previous lives that have now ceased? And yet, because of my strong attachment to worldly pleasures, I have gone against the advice of my spiritual guide. Chapter 6, verse 65. We should also prevent anger from arising towards anyone who might harm our spiritual guide, our friends, or our relatives, by seeing that such harm also arises upon conditions in the way that was just explained. Chapter 6 on the practice of patience, developing compassion as an opponent to anger, overcoming the cause of anger, contemplating our own faults, in situations that provoke our anger. Chapter 6, verses 50 to 123, quite extensive. It's all about objections we might have and resolving those doubts. So this is chapter 6, verse 65. All harm arises upon conditions in the way that was just explained. All misfortune, bad things that happen, come from our karma. Bad things happen to our loved ones, or our friends, or our spiritual guide. Dependence upon our karma. So we need to accept that it's a ripening of our karma. Or we can contemplate the example of what causes an attacker to attack someone. It's not caused by the stick, but the attacker is controlled by their delusions, So really we should blame the delusions, not the attacker, not the assailant. Chapter 5, verse 30. Fortunate ones who follow the instructions they receive, maintain respect for their spiritual guide, and generate fear for the lower realms, can easily develop and maintain mindfulness. Chapter 2, verse 31. All the extremely unbearable evil actions committed by me, an evil person, polluted by many faults, I confess before the deliverers, the enlightened beings. This concludes that discussion of practicing the moral discipline of restraint. Okay, so a short one tonight, but I recommend you pause it after each paragraph to really contemplate it, so it kind of hits home, and spend some time in placement meditation. So generally a good 15 minutes for Dharma meditation is a good practice, because if you're following these meditations, you probably need a good 15 minutes on each one at least on this channel. Okay, over and out. Good night.